Hey everybody, Brian Beatty, Century 21 affiliated in beautiful Clearwater, Florida. Sitting here waiting for an inspection to get done. Working for a buyer that's buying an income generating property, and should be a good money maker for him eventually, or not eventually, but right off the bat, honestly. But what I'm going to talk about today is something that I've noticed. I've been working with a lot of investors. Truly like working with investors because, one, it's not an easy game. There's a lot of good agents that represent investors. There's a lot of bad agents that represent investors. And if your agent is used to selling single-family homes that mom and dad and the kids live in and don't know how to analyze a income-generating property for you, you're probably working with the wrong agent. Just multitude of reasons. There's a different reason why you're buying than somebody that's buying on emotion. You're buying for a business reason. And today's little talk is all about some truth bombs for those, one, that are thinking about getting into the income generating or investment game through real estate, and those that may already do it and think they're killing it. And more than likely you probably aren't, from what I'm seeing out in the market. And you go, what do you mean what you're seeing in the market? Well, I represent a lot of different investors, and I got investors that are looking for duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, single family homes that could be rented. Some of them are already rented, have tenants in place, that kind of stuff. And the consensus lately is that almost all of these duplexes that people have owned for 20 years are severely under rented, and the deferred maintenance is causing a major issue for the buyers. So if you're thinking about getting in the investment game, just realize that the money's not made when you sell it, it's actually made when you buy it. So if you're going to overpay for a property, you don't know your exit strategy, you don't know what you're going to use that property for, meaning long-term, short-term rentals. Are you flipping it? Are you buying it just to get passive income? That passive income still needs to make money. So what I'm noticing is a lot of these duplexes, triplexes, the deferred maintenance is so ridiculous. The roofs have to be replaced, the water heaters have to be replaced, the ACs have to be replaced, electric panels have to be replaced. $20,000, $40,000, $60,000 worth of work that the new owner has to come in just to make the property current. And then they have two renters on each. They have a renter on each side, two renters paying $650 a month in an area for a 2-bed, 1-bath property that the current rent is somewhere between $1,000 and $1,200. And those current owners are just like, well, I'm making a couple $100 a month, and they've paid my mortgage, so I'm good. The reality of it is you're not good, and you haven't been good. You've shorted yourself to the point that you can't take care of the property. Otherwise, the roof would be replaced, the water heaters would be replaced, the electric panels would be up to date. There wouldn't be termite damage and massive rodent infestations in the attics. There wouldn't be wood rot in the eaves. The paint would be fresh. They wouldn't need to be power washed with mold and mildew on the outside of them. The general condition of the interiors would be freshly painted and well kept, and all that stuff. And you'd be selling it for top dollar. And you'd have somebody that was in there paying top dollar. And you can't get top dollar if your property's in that bad of shape. Nobody's going to give you that $1,000 to $1,200 a month when there's a bad roof and there's rodents in the attic and there's termites and bugs and all that great stuff. You're not gonna. You don't have a business. You got to understand that this income generating properties and being a landlord should be run like a business, not like a part-time hobby. And to the point you think that just covering the mortgage and making a little extra is worth it? Do you think you're going to get property value appreciation and that's your game, well, that's probably fine. If you put 20% down on the original loan or paid cash, you're going to get that. If you're one of these investors that are coming into the game with 3.5% down, going to live in it for the first year, I'm going to house hack, I'm going to do all these things, that's great too. You can make money. Understand that you're paying usually a higher percentage on the interest rate. You're also paying PMI. If your credit's not perfect, you're paying even more. But if you don't have the money to come into the property right, are you maintaining the property? Are you doing that weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual bug treatment? Keeping the rodents out of the attic? Are you keeping the air conditioners fresh? Do you have enough insulation in the attic? Do you have a policy to paint the place every couple years? All of that deferred maintenance piles up, and then somebody owns that property in the 5th or 6th year start to realize that they need to put $10,000 to $15,000 into the property, and it becomes overwhelming and they don't do it. And then they just get complacent with just covering the mortgage. Well, I'll get the property appreciation. If they're just covering the mortgage and you got a 30-year amortized loan and you're paying all that interest in the first 5 years, you're probably not making money on the property. You're losing money, because the only ones making money are the bank or the mortgage company that gave you that loan. And I love the people that, I refinanced in the 5th year. Great. What'd you do? 15-year mortgage, right? No, went with 30-year mortgage, but I reduced my payment by $150 a month. That's hilarious. You obviously don't know what you're doing. You probably shouldn't be an investor, and you just made the bank or whoever refinanced you just made a ton of money off of you, because in the 5th year, you're lucky if you paid 5% in the equity, and then you just re-rolled yourself right into the highest interest payments. Look at that amortized loan statement that you get at the closing, and look at payment 1 versus payment 360, and look at the principal amount on that first payment compared to the last amount, and you'll see what I mean. That's your education for the day. Go back and look at that. You got it at closing. You should have it in your closing documents. Go back and educate yourself, because you're clueless on it. All right. The bank's gonna make $60,000 or $80,000 just in probably in interest payments in the first 10 years, and when you refinance in that 5th year, you just put yourself right back into the bank making all the money. So these things are real important going forward. I'm seeing a ton of investors that are getting out of the game because they failed. They're failing miserably at it. They have great properties that should sell for $260,000, $240,000, and unfortunately they're limiting themselves to cash buyers only, because what you want in the real estate market to get the best price is to bring the biggest pool of buyers. Okay, and that doesn't mean cash buyers. Cash buyers buy on discount. People that buy on 5% or 3.5% down, they're usually paying pretty close to asking price. A lot of them are asking for closing costs. So if you're willing to give closing costs, it's going to be 3 to 4% off the price. But realize that with all the deferred maintenance, you've wiped out any FHA buyers, because if you can't afford to put the roof on before closing and get it to pass inspection, that person can't buy it. All right. Anybody coming in with 5% conventional loan, probably the same issues. VA loans, all that kind of stuff, very stringent on that kind of stuff. Electrical panels, there's certain electric panels in Florida that the insurance won't write on. So, if you've got one of those electric panels, you should have probably had it upgrade for your own purposes. And if you haven't had bug and termite treatments and rodent exclusion, those things do damage on your property. For $300 a quarter or whatever it costs, if you're not doing that, when you have to tent the house when you go to sell it because the mortgage company won't allow the mortgage to be written on a property because they find termite damage, you you're going to be coughing up like $3,000 or more to get that done, to satisfy them. That's on you. You could have been shelling out $300 a quarter and keeping them out of there, and not had to. You could have proven that you had treatment in place. That's why you need to be charging current rent rates. You're not doing yourself a favor. You're not running your income generating property business as a business. You probably don't even have your exit strategy. Do you know why you got in the game, how you got in the game, what's the end goal? You're going to own it for 20 years, 30 years, 10 years, 2 years. What is it? You should have a plan in place when you buy it. You should have a backup plan. If you're buying it for a long term, you better know the numbers. What is the current rent rates? Where are they going to go with the rates, with the way the market is? And if the market were to correct, whether it's the stock market, which affects people's income, can affect jobs, and the jobs go away, what's the rental market going to do? Is it going to get better, worse? Well, typically the rent, the amount of people that need to rent go up, but what you're going to collect in rent is going to be a lot less than what you're currently renting, so or collecting. So you better make sure you're insulated in what you buy at versus what you're getting for rent, because if there is a correction and you have to go backwards for 3 years and wait out that rent market or whatever it is, maybe it's 6 years. Could you do it? Somebody that puts 20% down on their property, has plenty of equity, is charging current rate rents, buying it right for the right price, not having to do a ton of maintenance up front, and just keeping the maintenance going and running their business on a daily basis, not like reacting to everything, but being proactive. They're the ones that are making the money. Those are the people that are making a go of it. So if this is sounding like a truth bomb, and maybe you're an investor that has that, and you're seeing your neighbor is getting twice the rent, but his place is twice as nice, there's a reason for that. Maybe your neighbor just sold their duplex and got twice what you think you could get for yours. There's a reason for that. This does apply to regular homeowners too. Not that you're running a business, but if you think your home is an asset, you got to take care of it. You got to put upgrades in it. You can't have 1970s cabinets, shag carpeting, and Formica tops that were painted purple at one point and then covered with cheap ceramic tile in the 90s, and then somebody decided to do something else on top of it in the early 2000s and expect to get top dollar for that property. If you're not upgrading your property, keeping it to current standards, getting the finishes inside, if you're not painting it on a regular basis, chances are you're not upkeeping it like you should. Don't expect to get market value from it. It's just a simple thing. Deferred maintenance is the biggest thing we see when we represent buyers, whether it's single family homes or duplexes. And the idea of when you go to sell is to have the biggest pool of buyers to get the best price. When you bring the biggest pool of buyers and the biggest interest, you get people to pay more than you're asking if you're priced right, and you generate purchases on emotion instead of like, hey, well, we could beat them up on price and get it for the right price. We could change the kitchen and do all that. That's where people lose money. So you want to get the best price for your property, whether it's a single family home, multifamily. Keep up the upgrades, keep up the updates, keep it current. And if you got renters in there, keep them current. If the local market's getting $1,000 a month and you're getting $650, why is it? Is it because you haven't taken care of your property? More than likely. Are you lazy? Could be. Are you just complacent? Like, hey, they're covering my costs? That's great. But you run a business, and I don't know of any business that runs a business to cover costs. The truth of it is, a business runs to turn a profit. Turn a profit means you got a clear dollars well over your overhead. And that's not just the mortgage, the property taxes, the interest payment, that kind of stuff. It's general maintenance and upkeep. You are going to have repairs. If you own a property, you're going to have to replace AC systems. You're going to have to replace the roof. You're going to have to replace water heaters. And here's the other thing. You can get it done cheap with a handyman. That's great. I'm glad you saved a ton of money. If they're not licensed and insured, they shouldn't be in your house. If they're not licensed and insured and pulling a permit, they shouldn't be doing the work. And here's the current situation. We're sitting on the inspection. I even told the seller when we looked at the house before we put an offer in, I said the roof looks like it was just done recently, and she admitted her and a friend did it, and that's great. They didn't pull a permit. I said, well, is there any records in the last 20 years of a permit being pulled? Nope. And here's the day of the inspection. The inspector walks up, and the first thing he says to me is, we don't have any records of the roof being done. And I gave him the backstory, and he says, oh, okay, well, we'll have to see how the he's like, we'll take a look at it. As long as it's done, we'll note that it's done decently or whatever, but we can't certify that it was done without a permit or a receipt from a licensed roofing contractor. So the gist of it is had she gone to the city and said that she was going to do the roof herself, she might have spent $250, something like that. They would have came out, inspected it, and signed off on it, and gave her the third-party agreement that it was done to the current code the day it was done. Not that expensive. It really isn't. And what you wouldn't be dealing with is what we're going to probably deal with when we come into the mortgage or the insurance company that says, well, we can't qualify the roof, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. We're going to see if we can get a licensed roofing contractor out at that point to certify it as being installed right. You may have to go back to the city and have them inspect. You may have to pay a fine. Who knows? It may not even be an issue, but what I'm getting at is for $250 and dealing with the issue the right way would solve all the problems when it comes on the day of you're going to sell the house. Ideally, she may only be getting a cash buyer if the roof becomes too big of an issue. I just don't understand that whole not wanting to pull a permit and have the city sign off on something as major as a roof, your AC, your plumbing. Now the AC is 20 years old, but luckily my buyer's an AC guy. It works, it's functional. He's happy. We took the price of installing a new AC system off our asking price. So after he owns it, he'll put in the AC system he wants to install. But again, if she wanted to get top dollar, she probably should have put in an AC system 3 or 4 years ago, paid somebody to pull the permit, to get it done, to have the city sign off on it, and we wouldn't have taken $6,500 off the price. Just a thought. She may have paid $6,500 to get it done at that point, but she also might have been able to ask a little bit more for it. Just saying. The price she was on the market was kind of low for the homes that we were looking at originally, so I'm almost wondering if she didn't lose money because of that. So it's just a thought. You got to look at everything, but deferred maintenance is the number one thing I'm seeing right now with a lot of investors, and I know it is the same thing with a lot of homeowners. If you're not taking care of your stuff, don't expect to get top dollar, but also don't expect to bring the biggest pool of buyers. We're disqualifying a lot of homes for a lot of people that could buy if the roof was decent, the water heaters were somewhat newer, the ACs were decent, the electric panels were decent. Just saying, everybody wants to make money. You got to spend a little bit of money, and you got to run it like a business. So big truth bombs today for investors. Whether you are an investor, want to become an investor, maybe you don't even want to become an investor, this could be fuel for it. I don't know. I'm not throwing out anything that's like earth-shattering. I guarantee you some people are watching this and going, this was the most boring thing I've ever watched. All I want you to know is that it's something I see, so it's an issue. It's a everyday issue. And if you knew the difference on what a property would bring that was in decent shape, decent meaning the roof was going to qualify, all of the deferred maintenance was done, it could be $20,000 to $40,000 difference in what you're going to make on that property. You're also probably going to be able to charge better rent, so you're probably going to be able to charge somewhere between 30 and 40% higher than what you were currently getting, which would have been a lot of money in your pocket. And then I always get the smart guy like, oh, I don't want to make all that money because I have to pay taxes. Yeah, I don't know any business that goes around on the model of, hey, we're not going to make any more money, otherwise we're going to have to pay taxes. If you had to pay taxes, that's a good thing. It means you turned a profit. If you owned a property for 20 years and didn't pay taxes, you probably should have never owned it in the first place, because that means you're showing that you lost money on every year you owned it. That's crazy. And I know some CPAs out there will tell you that, oh, we can do this and do that, blah, blah. That's great. Good luck. Hopefully you don't get audited, because the IRS knows that you should be turning a profit at a certain point. So you're probably going to be sitting in front of a IRS audit or something like that, and hopefully your CPA is as good as he says he is. And if you're not with a good CPA, that's part of your business. If you're doing your own taxes and you're a property investor and you're not certified to do taxes, you cannot keep up with this code. The IRS changes stuff every year. Hire a professional. They'll give you the tax advantages. They'll tell you what's in your best interest. And don't find any CPA. Find the ones that work with property investors, right? They're used to seeing it. They know what they can do. If you go to Jackson Hewitt, does 1040 EZs all day long, you're probably not going to get the best advice on your property investment. Nothing against Jackson Hewitt. I don't know anything about him. I'm just saying, find a local CPA that works for other property investors. Find that investment community and find out who's the CPA that most people run with. Not the guy that's getting them every little short cheat and this and that. Just somebody that's good at what they do and going to cover your butt and go to bat for you should you have to go for an IRS audit. And just know that you got somebody that's going to get you through it. That's really all it is. And if they're doing it right, you probably never will get audited. It's just that simple. But it's a business. You're going to have to spend some money. If you're good at doing a little deferred maintenance yourself, that's great. If you're good at painting, cleaning, power washing, doing all that stuff, that's great. But if it's major stuff and needs a permit, pull the permit. Have proof that it was done, it was signed off, all that kind of stuff. That's all I'm saying. So today's little talk, dashboard confessional while I'm sitting for an inspection, is what I'm seeing in the market. And it's a big issue. And I gotta say, it's like my buyers, they're just in awe of like the properties that are in such bad shape. People are trying to get top dollar for. They're not getting it. They're losing money. They're losing buyers because the buyers that are out there that have the pre-approvals for $350,000 with a 5% loan are willing to pay asking price if the property's in decent shape, but they're in no way or shape in position to be able to pay for a roof, to be able to pay for new electric panels, to be able to pay for 2 new AC systems, pay for 2 water heaters. And the reality of it is their mortgage company is not going to let them go to closing with a bad roof on the house. So get the roof done. The roof is the number one problem on almost every purchase lately. Roofs. Nobody wants to spend money on a roof. That's it. Roof it, roof it, roof it. So just word of the wise, take care of your properties. They'll make you money. Make sure you're charging current rents. Run your business like a business. Don't run it like a hobby. Just hopefully you get something out of this. And if you're not running it like a business, you need help, I've got resources for you. I can help you. It's not just me. I have resources. I will put you in contact with the people that will help you see what you need to do and get you the game plan and get you going to where you could be making better money with your property. It's not about selling your property. I'm telling you, if you own a duplex or a triplex and you're getting $650 to $800 a month in rent for a 2-bed, 1-bath side, and you're in Pinellas County or Upper Tampa Bay area, you're not getting the current rate rent or rent rate. You should be getting it. And if you were getting it, you'd probably be able to do all that deferred maintenance pretty easy. Just saying. Truth bombs. All right, enough for one day. Hopefully you got something out of this. If you got questions, post a comment. I'll try and get back to you. If you want more of these, tell me there's a topic you want to hear about, see about. Maybe it's insurance, maybe it's about financing, maybe it's about some aspect of the deferred maintenance. What's realistic, what isn't, that kind of stuff. Let me know. I'd love to do another video, maybe on the next inspection. Maybe it'll be your inspection. Wouldn't that be cool? And don't forget, I can help anyone across the United States with a great agent. All you gotta do is reach out to me and tell me what you're looking for. What you're looking for in a great agent. I'd love to help you that way too. I have a referral system that is by far way better than anything you're going to get on Zillow or any of these real estate apps where you punch in contact agent and 20 agents contact you. Those are agents that are paying to be on that system. The system that I have will refer you one agent only that is a top agent in their area. And if you're an investor, I simply put in need to be investor friendly, must have investment history, and preferably own investments themselves, because if they do, then they understand the game. If you're looking for a single family home and you've got a VA loan and you're ex-military, Marine, Navy, and you want somebody that's used to dealing with that, I can get you a top agent in that area. Doesn't cost a thing. You're only going to get contacted by one agent. And the cool thing is, if you're not impressed with that agent, you're not required to use them. If you're not required to use them, you've got no skin in the game. You're free to go check out any other agents you want. All I'll tell you is that everyone I've referred to this agent system, the referral agent system, has been super happy with who they've been connected with. Really positive feedback. So I'm seeing the ability to help people in ways that even in areas that I can't help, that I can get you a great agent. Just reach out to me, let me know. Say, hey Brian, I'm looking for a top agent. Feel free to call, text, email me. 727-242-0042 is my phone number, direct. And my email address is Brian, BRIN, .Beatty, BEATTY, at C21affiliated.com. And that's AFFILIATED. And I'll put those in the comments down below. If you're looking for a top agent, I'd love to help them and get you that top agent and see if we can get you either buying a home, or if you're in the investment side and looking for your next investment, I can find the agent to help you in that arena as well. like I said, nationwide, even certain countries if you're looking globally. So let me know. Have a great day, and peace out.